Hey, what's going on, guys? I just got done watching Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Part 2, Episode 10, 22 in total. First of all, I just want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Anyway, from last episode, they found the secret room, they solved the little puzzle, and they're kind of thinking about whether they should go in or not, which really there was no thought. Paul's like giving in to his feelings, his emotions. He's like, no, we're gonna go in and get it done. And they go into the room, and of course, in every labyrinth, there is a guardian, and this guardian is crazy. So, we're not only shown that Zenith is in an iceberg, but there's also a giant Hydra, multiple heads. And of course, Paul charges in. Elise, during a lot of this, of course, she's trying to help Paul out because Paul's putting himself in there, and she gets cut up on the shoulder a lot throughout this. Rudis tries to use magic. Roxy tries to use magic. It won't impact. The little Viking dude, he drops a giant boulder and it doesn't make impact. So anyway, they chop a head off. Of course, Paul does, and it regrows the head. And that's whenever Rudis is like, "Hey, we need to go back." Everyone's like, "We need to go back." So as Paul's charging in, of course, Geese has to go after him along with Elise, and Rudis sets up a smoke screen and they come back. We're back to that room that they ended on last episode again. And they're planning ahead, and Rudy and Paul kind of have an argument. Rudy's calm, but Paul is very upfront about saving his wife Zenith. And the thing about Zenith is Rudy's like, I don't even know if she's going to be able to be alive. I don't know what type of state she's going to be in if we get her out of this. She may be dead for all we know, and we should stay calm about this. But reluctantly, Rudy comes up with a plan using Greek mythology. It's about Hercules, so cutting off the heads and using fire to help the flesh not grow back is what the plan is. Thereafter, Paul agrees and he compliments Rudy, and not only that, this is where things get a little crazy. It starts to get a little crazier. But Paul's like, if you have to sacrifice yourself, do it for your mom. But he does say, of course, this is something that no parent should be telling their child, which is correct, and even Rudy was thinking about it, but this is the right thing. He doesn't really recall Zenith as a parent as much as Paul, because Paul taught him a lot. And Zenith wasn't really there to like train him. He's from another world anyway, and Paul made the most impact in his life. If we had to think of anyone in his family, or his parents, out of his parents, Paul for sure made the biggest impact. So they go back in, they now have a plan. Rudis tests the theory of the magic barriers, and they think about this. Oh, if we get closer, we'll be able to use the magic then. Roxy can use healing magic. Rudy's not real versed in it, but as you remember back at school, he's learned it. So I don't think this is very important, but he was given some extra magic spells from no other than Roxy back there, just so you know, coming into this. But anyway, this battle just gets crazy. Paul starts chopping off heads. They Rudy burns it. Sometimes Roxy would burn them. And whenever it came to the last three heads, that's where we had problems. Elise, of course, got scratched yet again. But oh god, it's really hard to talk about. Like, I do recommend watching this episode. Like, it is hard, man. Like, I love this series, and I'm just like, why? What? Um, one of them, Rudy just keeps standing still, and Paul keeps helping him. So Paul helps him on the first one. The second one, Rudy gets kicked away, and Paul gets hit by the Hydra itself, its head. Um, we don't know where Paul went. Elise used some type of ice magic on one of them because it started to bite its part of its like neck. That way it could get past the burning, and then it can re-go again. Um, God, they get to the last one. They finally defeat it, and they're going in victory. Rudy's thinking his dad, and as he's thinking his dad, he begins looking at everyone, and then Rudy looks back behind him, and we see that Paul got smashed, in between a rock, and he's just gasping for his last air. And as he was basically frowning, he starts to smile with the last bit that is going on. Um, I'm not gonna lie, the Hydra, Rudy panicked because all he saw was the eyeball and punches it out. So that was the big final fight. I know I didn't describe that too well on that, but that's all I remember. He panicked, like he lost his crap whenever he saw the eyeball. It kind of reminded me of his eyeball, so I wonder if it was kind of like looking into Rudy's eye or something. I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if it was just a panic cry or what the dragon was seeing, if it was ready to attack him. But that's something else I like to mention. But it's not as important as what just happened. And it's terrible because Paul's such a great character, and they kill him off on this point. He couldn't even get reunited with his wife before he died. He couldn't even see Rudy to fully grow up. Now Rudy has grown up quite a bit. He's already done the adult things. He's already got a kid on the way. Well, technically two. Um, but it's crazy. So he's never gonna see his dad again, as far as I know. We go to what's next. Rudy loses his arm, which is pretty traumatic. That was the big important part as well. He punched the eyeball out, and I guess something happened and it got his hand. So he used what little healing magic that he knows, and he healed it. So what it doesn't let him do is regrow his full arm. Thus, he just has a stump for now. Now he's probably gonna end up learning about how the new clay figures work and make a hand using clay, if not heal it fully. That's my guess. I've not read up to this point. I've read very little in the beginning, but that's not important either. Move on. They're bringing everyone's going back. It's sad music playing. Seneth's being carried. Rudis is very. He's just out of it. He is really out of it, and it's kind of it's just yeah. Your dad died. Your dad died. The one that you love the most because you're the closest to him. His dad died. That's all I can say about that. So we get to the final part. This is an extended episode, so no end credits, but we get going to the final parts. Rudy's just sitting in bed looking at a fly, and he's looking into this flame. It's like a little candle sitting up here, and we get to where they took Paul and cremated him. They rotisserie him, and then Rudis touched his ashes. Sad scene. We get to the very final part, and Zenith's in bed. She's bedridden for days on end. She finally wakes up, and she can't speak right. She's severely mentally ill now, it looks like. And he's basically lost both of his parents in one episode. So, we thought his mom was alive. We thought his dad would live. But they really 180 us. This should be a turning point. But I understand that this is the big reason why he shouldn't have came. It's because his dad died, his mom was already gone to begin with, and she's not a lost cause, I don't want to think. I think she's still going to be important in some way, but I think mentally she's no longer with us. She just speaks out gibberish from what we saw. Hopefully we get more about that in the next episode. They do usually go over some things. But anyway, guys, tell me what your thoughts are. I mean, do you think this is the worst thing to happen? I guess that's the question of the day. Do you think Rudy losing both of his parents is going to be the worst thing to happen in this series? Or do you think something worse is to come? But yeah, I love this episode. I don't know what's to come. This was kind of the whole arc. So hopefully something comes up and we get to the next big arc. Anyway, guys, hope you stay safe and peace.